Hey guys, Attorney Walter Hnot here. Now I wanted to go into something very quickly, which is something that I have a personal interest in, which is basically making sure that dog food, cat food, animal food in general is cheap, the treats are cheap, the toys are cheap, so that our little furry friends can go ahead and have a better standard of living. But unfortunately, under the current economic policy and market, things are increasing dramatically, and this does tend to hurt everybody, from the super rich kid that has that unique breed animal, all the way down to the facility that's trying to go ahead and take care of 300 abused animals. So I just want to go through this real quick, bring a little light to it. I know many of you know me as kind of a disability attorney, a unique one that is not just extreme left, that is not just promote whatever the legacy channels are putting out there, somebody who is economy driven, which is not the traditional disability attorney, somebody who realizes that you need money to have social programs. Just saying it. I'm just saying it. Let's go into this real quick. This is specifically, Kate Dorr wrote it via CBS. Inflation is spiking the cost of pet parenthood, yet owners are still splurging on care. I wanted to go into this because I think it's important for you to understand what's happening here. And the outcome is people are going to have less animals. Farms are going to struggle. We're going to see less upkeep. Standard of living for animals is going to go significantly down. More than 70% of dog parents have noticed the rising costs of foods, treats, toys, and veterinary visits. 73% worry about prices continuing to grow. However, many pet owners are still willing to splurge on quality food, specialized services, and eco-friendly products. I would assume a lot of that is because we love our animals, they're our kids, and also, we are better at understanding their needs than our own human needs. Like, I'll go eat fast food all the time. Right? As a human being, I'll do it. But we know that food is terrible for me, as opposed to going and buying healthy food, which is more expensive and I have to take time to prepare it. I'd rather hurt myself than my dogs. Okay. Pet parenthood is getting more expensive, but many owners are still willing to splurge, according to a report from Rover, an online pet marketplace. Rising costs and inflation are a growing concern for Americans, affecting everyday expenses like groceries, gasoline, and housing. Pet parents are also feeling the sting, according to the reporting. Analyzing data from more than 1,000 U.S. dog owners, that's a pretty good chunk. Okay, more than 70% of pet parents have spent more on food, treats, toys, and veterinary visits, and 73% worry about prices continuing to grow, the report found. Indeed, annual inflation for pet food rose by 3.7% in February. That's just February. We used to see that increase for an entire year. If you guys are looking at me like I'm looking at you weird, it's because I have poison ivy in this eye. That's 3.7% in February. Not like 2021, not like 2020, February. According to the U.S. Department of Labor and Pet Services, including veterinary care, which spiked by 5.8%. Like most consumer goods and services across the globe, the cost of many pet products has increased in the past year, said Kate Jaff, trend expert at Rover. Despite these rising costs, Americans are still splurging like never before for their beloved pets. It's because they're our kids. For example, nutritious and fresh ingredient food is a popular splurge item. The report shows with the majority of pet owners willing to spend extra. Personalized services such as dog walking and sitting, particularly for city dwellers, is also a priority for pet parents because they don't have a backyard. I've never understood city people, and I don't mean to say it as like a negative towards them, but you could essentially live like this somewhere in the country, but instead you choose the sound of beeping cars and angry pedestrians and your neighbor's poor choice in music. I don't know. I don't get it. Like, you could have something like this. You could be out in the country, but hey. For example, nutritious and fresh ingredients, and it's cheaper out here too. It's cheaper. Way cheaper. I mean, consider New York City compared to this. Oh, there's a bee. There's a bee. They probably have a nest under that one right there. Great. If I get bitten while having, poison ivy, it turns into poison ivy pox, and worse than monkeypox. For example, nutritious and fresh ingredient food, yada yada. Personalized services. Okay, so basically city dwellers are using that a lot. Many are willing to pay extra for green products like biodegradable poop bags, and some will shell out for smart pet tech devices. I didn't even know that existed, biodegradable poop bags. It's pretty cool. I'll check that out. Probably won't buy it, These findings may suggest pets and their well-being aren't discretionary expenses, but rather part of the mandatory family budget, meaning like we're going to do it no matter what. These findings align with the 2020 report from the American Pet Products Association showing that 35% of owners spent more on pet supplies over the past 12 months, and 51% are willing to pay more for ethically sourced and eco-friendly products. The percentage of U.S. homes with pets has continued to grow during the pandemic, reaching an estimated 70% in 2022 compared to 67% in 2021, according to the American Pet Products Association. There's no way they could be really perfect with that number, but what's neat about that number is that it's absolutely massive as far as numbers go. And the reason why that's an amazing, fact or whatever, is that at the end of the day, you have to consider that 70%, let's say it's way less than that, let's say it's just 60% of homes have a pet in it. That's amazing, because that's showing the human race inside of the United States basically taking up the burden of helping our furry friends. So that, in my opinion, that's incredible. Costs vary by breed. Generally, dog parents spend about $100 to $149 per month, regardless of location, according to Rover's findings. Of course, expenses may vary based on unique needs and lifestyle. However, if you're ready to adopt a dog and worried about your budget, you may compare the average cost by breed Jeff suggested. For example, mixed breeds, Dachshunds, and Chihuahuas are typically less expensive, costing less than $100 per month. And while Labrador Retrievers surprisingly may cost between $50 and $99 per month, Golden Retrievers, so Labradors versus Golden Retrievers are on the higher end, with owners spending $100 to more than $150 per month. Breed factors in the cost of the dog parenthood on a number of levels, said Rebecca Greenstein, veterinary medical advisor for Rover. At its very simplest, it could be about size, and size is a huge governing factor in cost. Medicines are dosed based on body weight, for example, she noted, and that's where it ends. All right. Let's just fill in the gaps here. Oh, there's some disgusting stuff there. Let's just fill in the gaps here as it flies away. What is that sound? There's something going on over there. I'm not really sure. And it's not our barn, so I'm not really sure what's going on. It might be a giant tractor. So, and there will be somebody in the comments be like, you just told us not to go where it's noisy. Sometimes there's a giant tractor. So here's my take on it. Everybody's worried about the standard of living dropping for humans. And I always talk about specifically because that's my knowledge base and people I care about most because they are. They're fixed income. They're likely to be struggling the most. If you take, for example, a fixed income individual, a disabled person, a retired person, and then you calculate into that, essentially that person has a pet, and they have to be able to take care of that pet, and it's never been more expensive to take care of that pet. So when you take somebody who really couldn't afford a bunch of increases for that pet, and now all of a sudden things are way more expensive, I get a lot of people giving me these comments. Not a lot. It's actually a very small percentage. I should be realistic about that. Who think I'm beating on President Biden or the White House, or that Biden has no power to change these things, or it's completely out of control. Nothing is out of control of the President of the United States. Not in the slightest. Not in the slightest. He can, through basically his powers, through international agreements, change the majority of pricings, how much we have of it. And what I've started to learn is that they are essentially starving us. They're starving us. That's what they're doing. And when they starve Americans, they F over our furry friends, our dogs, our cats, etc. And what's happening is, and I hate to put it this way, but it is accurate. It's very true. If you start to look at it as every year, the cost of living adjustment does not accurately reflect, what it actually costs to live in America, right? So you get a little boost, but it's actually much more expensive to live here. What you end up with is a mutiny. A mutiny, right? Because all the disabled are going to get very unhappy. All the retired are going to get very unhappy. And people are going to be noticing, I think, before even their own suffering, their pets suffering. They'll be at the store and not be able to buy that certain particular thing they get for their pet. Or somebody will not be able to buy the toy that they want to buy for their pet. Or their pet will basically, not be able to get that extra grooming or toenail clipping or whatever. I think and it says here 70%, for a lot of people, a lot of families, they're going to start to notice and say, that's really expensive. Maybe I'll try this. And that'll go on for about 2 months until basically they start to realize that somebody did this to them. And I've seen arguments, it's Ukraine, Russia situation. I've seen arguments, which is the Ukraine-Russia situations. There's no reason why America could not produce all the things that which it needs. If you go look at the milk market, when it comes to those who actually produce milk, we're losing tens of thousands of dairy farms every single year. Hundreds of thousands over not too many years. So the point is, it's almost like we're being eradicated as an American people. And the worst part of it is that we used to be able to like buy RVs and go on adventures. And the sad thing is, industries are dictating whether or not you have enough money to survive. So let me give you an example. A lot of people back in the day would say, hey, I'm in this industry, and that industry would mean something. But then we got away from that. Then we got into the I'm in this industry, or I'm in that industry. And they all made enough, right? They all made enough for people to be able to exist. But now we're going back into that stylistic approach of, he's a lawyer, he's an accountant, he's a doctor. Even though our professions don't really earn that much anymore unless it's personal injury or a surgeon. That's, basically it. Or you're like an accountant for the stars, So what I'm starting to see and realize is that there is an inherent problem with the capitalistic market exchange that we have right now, in that the American people largely lose every single year, and now we can't afford our furry friends to some degree. The tech industry is the big money winner right now, right? Beat out oil, beat out all these other things. The tech industry, people were getting jobs not too long ago. Normally those people would get a $70,000 job, $80,000 job max based on their experience, their education, whatever. Now they're getting $130,000, right? But now all of a sudden the tech industry is falling back and saying we're only hiring as a luxury preference. And so the problem inherent that I see here is that even the big money options, even your classic big money industries, are not able to earn enough to sustain the continuation of this changing society. I'm going to go through that in the next video. The next video is going to be basically an analysis as to, national debt, $30 trillion. Trump was over his presidency a $5 trillion increase. Biden over his half presidency so far, a $10 trillion increase. We're going to go through how much it costs, specifically America, to pay from its GDP total, what percentage of our country's ability to pay for stuff actually goes to our debt. And what you're going to see is that our debt is so out of control that basically the government has to either raise taxes on us, the people, and offer us less through our nonprofit programs to the American people in order for it literally to survive over the next 2 years. That bad. Let's get the other video going. I will catch you in a little bit and we'll go from there. Thanks so much, guys. Bye-bye.